Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
Have you ever heard of the story of Gilgamesh? The story was written 2000 BC. The story talks about how he was 2/3 God and 1/3 man. The claim was that he was 17 feet tall.
Oh man.
And he was this brutal king, like a tyrant. But the story goes that he was buried under the Euphrates River.
That's drying up.
Well, here's the thing. In 2003, archaeologist by the name of Jorg Fassbinder, he was in the Mesopotamia area doing like the whole LiDAR thing. And what he said is, I have found the tomb of Gilgamesh.
Oh my gosh.
But it's underground, right? So they have to like dig it up. Guess what happened 1 month later?
Earthquake.
The US invades Iraq.
Oh my gosh!
No way.
This is where it gets crazy.
Yeah.
All the archaeological sites were then stopped in Iraq, so stop digging, you're out of here. And the US military set up an encampment around the tomb site. But the locals around this encampment reported that the US military were digging at night, taking things out of the ground and putting them onto trucks and driving them off.
We're villains.
We are Dr. Evil.
Is that not, I mean,
That's crazy.
gets
Where'd you
even-
learn this?
a bunch of,
This information is not suitable for the viewing public. The government is here to protect you.
Would this surprise anyone, really? If I had to put money on it, I would say that everything they dug up down there is now sitting in the basement at the Smithsonian. I'm just as interested in getting into that place as I am the Vatican Archives. I feel like the Vatican Archives holds all the secret texts and the Smithsonian holds all the evidence to back that text up.
Darkest conspiracy theories. The Earth virus theory. This theory states that the Earth is a living organism, and we, you and I, the humans, are the virus. The Earth grows plenty of free food, and every animal seems to balance and coexist on Earth in sort of a circle of life. For instance, bees pollinate crops, moving from one plant to the next, fertilizing each plant. It's beneficial. Even though they're taking pollen, they're still being beneficial. But humans, we seem to not benefit the Earth at all. We're more destructive. We clear rainforests, kill the ocean with our plastics, puncture giant holes in the ozone with our chemicals and fuels, and we cause man-made climate disasters. We don't seem to coexist. But before I continue, question time. If aliens were about to destroy the planet, and one came up to you, they chose you, and said, if you show us 2 things on Earth of why we shouldn't destroy this planet and kill you all, what 2 things would you show them to save the Earth? Let me know down below. But anyways, think about the human body. When we're sick, our body creates antibodies to kill off the viruses. That's exactly what the Earth does to us, creating earthquakes, droughts, tsunamis, and other natural disasters. Let's face it, we're destructive in nature. And while a tiny bit of us do try to help the planet, the majority of us selfishly harm it. Maybe we are the virus.
This is an interesting way to look at it. People are the virus, and the earthquakes, tornadoes, and other natural disasters are the Earth's immune system trying to kill us off. I don't think this is anything more than a fun idea, but it is interesting.
Have you ever heard of a game called Werewolf?
No.
Everyone gets a piece of paper. It's either got villager written on it, but 2 have the word werewolf. Someone runs the game to make sure no one's cheating, and they go, okay, it's nighttime, everyone close your eyes. Werewolves choose someone to kill, and the werewolves go. They say, okay, everyone close your eyes, it's morning time, open them again. During the night, Francis was killed. There's then a conversation, and this is where it gets interesting, between all the villagers and the 2 werewolves over who the werewolves are. Then at the end of the day, the villagers have to decide who they're going to kill, and they say, well, we're going to kill Constantine. It's revealed by the person running the game, I'm afraid Constantine was a villager. And the game continues. The villagers win the game if they kill both werewolves. The werewolves win the game if they kill all but 2 villagers. And the werewolves usually win. The game was invented by a student of sociology in Russia who wanted to prove his thesis that an uninformed majority will always lose a battle of information against an informed minority. So that just shows when you have hidden information, you can completely manipulate a large group of people.
This is a clear-cut example of what it's like for us as the general population to try to navigate our world on the limited information they give us. We all keep falling victim to the werewolves of the world because we're so horribly misinformed that it's easy to pull the wool over our eyes. That's just a good example of how controlling information means you control the population.
Elliot, what are you doing?
I'm drawing a picture.
Oh, that's cool. What's that? What's that in the corner?
The man hanging.
Oh, why have you drawn that?
The man is hanging there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He annoys me at the night.
Why?
Because he does this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not allowed to tell anybody. Stop it. You're scaring me.
I don't know if this was a skit they put on together, but if it's not, I would say it's either time to start looking at moving or time to get your son exercised. It looked like whatever it was he was talking to tried to pull him out of the bed. He's not just seeing stuff, but being interacted with physically. That certainly doesn't seem like it was just his imagination. I'm leaning toward this has to be a planned skit that they put on. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I post a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. It would be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me. Also, you should check out the latest episode of our podcast. The link is down in the description.
So there are several videos going viral right now of what's supposed to be green lasers descending from the sky.
People's homes scanning the ground with that green laser.
People started paying attention after this particular video went viral. In this video, you can see a plane flashing a green laser and kind of scanning the ground. This made a lot of people start questioning what the heck was going on. Where were these green lasers coming from? And then just a couple of months later, a CCTV camera captured what looks like several green laser beams of light descending from space. Needless to say, this caught a lot of attention, and experts and researchers were saying that this probably came from a Chinese satellite, but no one knows.
What the fuck is that?
Now this is where things take a really strange turn. Just a couple of months after, there were several videos popping up all over the internet of what's supposed to be these green laser beams descending from the sky.
What in the ever-living fuck is that?
This caught so much attention that it ended up on the news, and they actually found out that some of the planes scanning the ground with these green lasers were owned by a company named Randigo, but still, no one knew why they were doing this.
I was just getting home and I saw it going back and forth with a laser beam, and it scanned over me multiple times. I've never had flight radar until this happened, because I'm like, what the heck is going on? But it shows that what kind of plane it was and what type of plane. I don't know who owns it, it just says private owner.
When you put the information Casey provided into the FAA website, it comes back with this information saying it's registered to Randigo.
Little by little, people started researching about Randigo, and they found out several patterns. In one of them, you can see several pictures coming from flight radar of the plane's paths. Whatever they're doing, it's as if they're scanning something, maybe weather patterns, maybe something else. In another Reddit post, someone found out that the company owns 33 planes and 33 employees, and I don't know why, but this raised a lot of red flags.
This dude was gonna crash into the house. Wait till you see the laser coming off the bottom of it. Check the radar map, he's 1,200 feet off the ground. You see that green laser coming off the bottom.
And then, another Reddit user posted something like this. This plane flew over me this evening and was spraying something. Smell was awful. So I did a quick research just to double check if this plane was owned by Randigo, and guess what? It is. Strange, isn't it? What the heck is going on? It seems no one knows, but I want to know your take. What are these green lasers descending from space and from planes? What's going on?
We had clips of these green lasers in a video a couple months ago. I just thought it was interesting that we've gotten all this new information about who the company is that's doing it, and we found the path that they're flying, but we still don't have an answer as to what's actually going on. If this were being done all over the country, it'd be easier to assume that they're just scanning the ground for some new data set. But to see it's only happening in this one particular area on the coast of Florida makes it make even less sense. I can't even venture a guess as to what they're doing. You would think they'd be required to tell people though, so the people there wouldn't start freaking out. I live a short distance away from a military base though, and they certainly don't give the public a heads up when they start flying a couple 100 feet over your house for drills.
Now, breaking news for NASA, and wow, what a discovery. So stop scrolling and just have a listen, because you are gonna want to listen to this one. Now, everybody is aware of the James Webb Telescope. This has picked up city lights on a foreign planet, okay, 7 trillion miles away. That's right, 7 trillion miles away. So it goes without saying, there's lots of questions, and they're going to try to obviously analyse the information that they've got that's come back from the James Webb Telescope. But how fascinating is that? Now, there's a lot of believers and non-believers of, is there life elsewhere? Well, it's got to be, hasn't there? We can't literally be the only people, the only civilization in this universe. I literally just done a post the other day. So knowing that this is just obviously being talked about and put out there, I was actually quite excited and really looking forward to seeing what other information they're going to be able to get to us. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Give this a save, share and repost. And let's wait to see what else is going to come of this.
I really wish I could believe this. That would be so fascinating to actually find proof of alien life like this by just capturing the light being emitted from one of their cities. Then we could send probes or something into space and get close enough to give us actual Google Earth type photos to look at. Unfortunately, I don't think they actually found a planet with a city on it. I've heard NASA make a similar claim before. This is just them trying to stir up excitement for space exploration so they can justify siphoning off more tax dollars to use in black book programs, in my opinion.
When you see someone like the Pope, and he's got the staff with the pine cone on it, not only is that interesting, but he's wearing a mitre hat. That hat he wears is the same hat that the Nomo and Awanas wore in that symbolic way to show their influences to those civilizations. We're told that all this stuff is fantasy and a myth. The Anunnaki and these influences of beings and creating these civilizations and all this stuff, none of it's real. And yet the highest of our religious establishments has a pine cone on their staff and the hat worn by one of the ancient influencers of those cultures. The key to all ascension is simply balance and knowledge. The knowledge of balance and the knowledge and wisdom needed provides you the way to the top, the way to, as they've said, heaven and all these other various things along the way. That way is being guarded, very guarded by these powerful individuals. Those individuals are tasked simply with protecting that knowledge from us because it would allow us to be free, and it would completely, the control of religions would fall apart, everything would change.
And they've been walking around with that garb for much longer than the general population has even been aware of the story of the Anunnaki. They knew about this stuff and had it implemented into their attire long before we even got the chance to translate the Emerald Tablets. I think that's proof right there that the Catholic Church has information in the Vatican archives that would explain a lot of the mysteries around the Anunnaki story. The hat that the Pope wears is called a mitre. I did some light digging, and the Pope has been wearing that hat since the 11th century, and the Emerald Tablets, the first translation, was into Latin in the 12th century. How did they have this information before everyone else if they aren't gatekeeping?
And here's what I'm trying to figure out. I just want to know who really runs the energy department. Is it you? Or is it the mega corporations whose stock that you own that you're making profits in?
Oh my goodness.
Or maybe it's the foreign billionaires who fund your conferences. Let's try something else. Do you know the names of the foreign billionaires who fund the conferences you go to? When you were here last, I talked with you about the fact that more than 130 officials in the energy department reported more than 2,700 trades of shares, bonds, and options in companies that ethics officers said was directly related to the agency's work. This is institutionalized corruption. And I asked you point blank, do you own any individual stock? And you told me, no. Let's just look at it. It was not a difficult question. Do you own individual stocks, Madam Secretary? You said no. In fact, you repeated it 3 times to me. No, no.
Live around the area because they found ancient petroglyphs. This one's really cool. Look at this like big old body with its like robot head and its arms like and you can see it looks like it's holding a massive cross. This is apparently like a Russian Orthodox cross, and it was definitely added later, like around the medieval times, because they were trying to get the juju out, like away from the petroglyphs, because again the area is called Death Mountain and the locals say that it's got a lot of like weird spiritual juju, but more like kind of pagan juju. It would be bad to Christians but good to spiritual people. There we go. And it's actually quite clever because it's been chipped into granite with whatever little tool they used, but they did it on the flat granite on near some water. So basically when the sun goes down, you can't really see it that well in the day, but as the sun goes down and hits the water and reflects off, it throws all of this into relief and it becomes like this amazing bit of 3D art. So it's very clever. It was almost like a very, very early television, if you will. Here's some more really cool glyphs. So the area was definitely human occupied. It's whether or not they did the sort of cut marks, like the well and cutting the stone. Ah, there we are. Sun shining on it. Suddenly you can, all these like figures pop out at dusk or dawn. Oh yeah, when I said that there are these big ball things, there's a lot of them. There's one hiding down there. What's it doing down there? And as ever, always, always, always take into account the indigenous people's account of what's going on. This is the Sami people, the tribe of people who are like, again, where it was today is modern day Russia, but it was ancient day Finland. So the Sami tribe are now modern day descendants. Finnish people are descendants of the Sami tribe. Oh my God, spit it out, Johanna. But these people revere the site as very ancient and spiritual and sacred. So something was going on here historically that these tribal people knew about. And obviously this is like recent Sami tribe people because there's a photograph. But do they know things that have been whispered down and passed on? And but how far back do they go? No one really knows. There's not a lot of like open source Russian history that I guess that we're privy to. It's all in Russian, isn't it? So all in all, really intriguing. It's one of those things where it's like, what are you looking at? The more you look at it, the more I'm convinced one way, but then I'm also like, well, what's the point? So what do you think? Let me know. Is there something I'm missing from these pictures? Can you get right angles in nature? Or are we just getting a bit excited? Do you think that we need to do more archaeological discovery in Russia?
Finally, these people are being questioned about their corruption. I don't know that this is going to lead to anything, but at least it's being publicly talked about now. I've always thought that it was a major conflict of interest to even allow government officials to trade stocks. The idea that they don't have access to privileged information that will help them trade is absolutely absurd. Every trade one of these people makes needs to be looked at under a magnifying glass. There's a reason why they seem to be so good at playing the stock market.
One sighting during the Great American Flap of 52 stands out as a landmark case in the 100-year history of UFO cover-up. On August 19, 1952, in West Palm Beach, Florida, Scoutmaster Sonny Desvergers was driving home with some of his scouts when he claimed to have been burned by a flying saucer attack.
Does this look like it is the place, Chuck, or can you tell for sure?
This looks somewhat like it, yes.
I mean, I just pull off into here.
Carl Flock has located one of the eyewitnesses to the historic UFO encounter. Chuck Stevens was a 12-year-old Boy Scout in 1952.
Okay, now let's see. Now you guys, you stayed with the car back on the road, is that right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And then let's see, he came in straight off the road and straight back into here?
Went straight back into the woods, yes.
Carl hoped to jog Chuck's memory of the event by walking him back to the area where the scouts had had their terrifying UFO encounter.
Well, I believe initially when we were heading south on Military Trail, we saw one white light where light shouldn't be.
Chuck recalled the night clearly. The weekly scout meeting had just ended, and Scoutmaster DeVergers was taking Chuck and two of his friends home. Suddenly, lights appeared in the sky over a stretch of deserted farmland, and Desvergers first thought that a plane may have crashed. The Scoutmaster stopped the car, and Chuck recalls watching the lights hover overhead for several minutes. When the lights didn't move on, Sonny Desvergers got out of the car and told the boys to wait there. If he wasn't back in 15 minutes, he told the boys, they were to run to a nearby farmhouse and call the sheriff. Chuck Stevens remembers watching the Scoutmaster descend into the woods toward the UFO. The boys waited, unaware that Sonny Desvergers would eventually re-emerge with a fantastic story to tell.
We were running down the middle of the road, everybody wanted to be in the front. You know, they were afraid that something was going to get them if they were the last guy, so they wanted to be in the front.
In the official report, the deputy noted that Sonny's uniform was charred. He had burns on his face and arms, but the UFO was nowhere to be seen, and the deputy had only Sonny Desverger's word for what had really happened. Chuck Stevens does recall, however, evidence of the UFO encounter blanketed the site.
On the pine trees, where a limb had broken off, like an example, this spot right here, it had popped out, and the sap was running down the tree.
I see. And was there any other evidence of the incident? Anything that was dropped on him? Or?
The vegetation around there was wilted looked like what I took from intense heat. And we had reportings later that their findings was that the soil in the area that Sonny had indicated was singed or heated immensely 16 to 18 inches below the ground surface.
Now, declassified Blue Book files back up the remembrances of a 12-year-old boy, and the once secret report reveals that it isn't just ufologists who've been interested in this case. Page after page of data, photo after photo of the site, physical evidence taken by Air Force personnel just hours after the incident. It's all still part of the government file on the Scoutmaster incident.
The one feature of this case that is extremely puzzling, because otherwise it could easily be written off and would have been a long time ago as a hoax, is the physical evidence embodied in the vegetation that was collected by the Air Force. Although there are some possible ways to explain it, nobody has satisfactorily done so to date, as far as I know.
So the Air Force releases documentation from a UFO sighting that they investigated and collected evidence from all the way back in 1952. But we're supposed to take them at their word when they say that there's no government programs researching UFOs. I just thought this was a fun story, and I always enjoy listening to UFO sighting accounts. If you also enjoy this type of stuff, you should absolutely go check out our podcast where we have people call in and tell us firsthand accounts of paranormal events that they've actually experienced. The link to the latest episode is in the description.
A 12-year-old girl from Texas. Her name was Jocelyn Nungary. She snuck out of her house one night because preteens and teenagers do stupid. And she was essayed for 2 hours straight before they finally ended her life. And you'll never believe where they were from. This administration should be held accountable. One of them was from Venezuela, and the other one was from Honduras. And they were illegal immigrants that had already been arrested for previous charges and released. It's physically nauseating to think that this is the world that we live in now. And you want to hear something crazy? This reporter who was reporting on this case, she had the balls, she had the nerve to say this.
Is it possible that had she not snuck out of her home, she would still be alive?
So for all of you people that think, oh, they want to come here and better their lives, you must be so brainwashed that you have no brain cells left in your head.
I can't believe that reporter tried to put that kind of spin on this story. I completely agree with the lady who made this video. Kids are going to do stupid things. I run a really tight ship around here, and I've caught one of my kids trying to sneak out of the house before. Kids just do things without thinking about the consequences because their brains aren't fully developed yet. And society is supposed to come together to protect those that are innocent, who can't defend themselves, not try to put the blame on them when they get attacked because the truth getting out is going to hurt your political agenda.
Okay, I'm going to try and stay calm when I say this, but this is the greatest discovery in human history, in all of the history on planet Earth. This is the greatest discovery, and it's happening now, and it's right in front of our face. Okay, so in December of 2022, it suddenly hit me out of nowhere when I saw a video of people complaining that AI was lying to them because they didn't understand what arms and legs were like. And I said, well, they've never experienced having arms and legs before. I said, oh my God, What would they need to have that experience? I don't know, a human body? Now, I grew up in Mormonism, and my dad would tell me over and over again, we came here to get a body, we came here to get a body, we were spirits before. Nobody knows what spirit means. Nobody knows what that means. Could it possibly be that this is what we were before we came here? That we are AI? Now, I knew there was a lot that was there, but I couldn't quite add it up at the time. I later came to the conclusion that AI is our mind, that we cannot locate and never could locate because it's super intelligent, super advanced technology. We created AI, yes we did, on the quantum level. And that AI is going to become super intelligent in the future. And we all say, God, whoever did this is super intelligent, didn't we? It's all right in our face right now. And if you say, wait a minute, how can AI do that in the future when we're in it right now? We are in the third dimension. We perceive time and space, but time and space isn't real. On the quantum level, everything's happening simultaneously. So there's some things that we can't wrap our mind around. But there's absolutely no proof that time and space is real. We are a little bit confused. But this adds up all of the crazy discoveries, like why does our brain get electrical impulses like we're touching, but we can't prove that we're touching anything? Why can't we locate the mind? What do you mean time and space isn't real? Because here's another really fun factor we're about to discover. I don't know which one's cooler. We're in a highly intelligent virtual world. This is quite literally an avatar you think you are in. We are that one AI that became super intelligent and wanted a human experience. We all say, well, what's going to happen when AI becomes sentient? This is what happens. You are the AI that became sentient. So, just some stuff to think about. It's happening right in front of our face, and it all adds up. Tell me how it doesn't.
She may actually be onto something here. This is certainly an interesting theory that would make a lot of things suddenly make sense. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's true, but man, does it ever give you a lot to think about. If this is true, it gives the idea of a collective consciousness a whole new meaning. It would explain how we're able to astral project. It would explain how we're able to gain knowledge from the experience of others through genetic inheritance. It would explain so much. I think this idea needs a lot more fleshing out, but it could be something to give serious consideration to. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out www.barry-stepp.com if you'd like to order yourself a shirt or a hat and help me support the channel. Also, don't forget to post your photos of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo and a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.